This video is about the oldest surviving single-volume Bible, which was long thought to have been of Italian origin, but the truth, which we will go through today, is that it is of English origin, to be specific, Northumbrian origin, and the journey it took from construction to current whereabouts is absolutely fascinating, and I hope you enjoy something and learn something from what we're going to go through today. Whilst the Bible we're looking at today is absolutely enormous and magnificent, this channel is small and humble, so please consider subscribing, and let's get into the marvellous adventure of Codex Amiatinus. The twin monasteries of Wearmouth and Jarrow have been mentioned a few times on this channel, and they play yet another important role in a great English story. In the year 692, the abbot was a well-revered man named Ceolfrith, and his monasteries were granted extra land in order to raise additional animals. This is relevant because the material in which Codex Amiatinus is written on is called vellum, animal skin which is treated, stretched, and ultimately made into pages to write on. This grand project was commissioned by Ceolfrith around the end of the 7th century, as he ordered 3 single-volume books to be made. His inspiration for this seems to have come several decades earlier, when Benedict's bishop acquired Codex Grandior in Italy around 678 and brought it back to Wearmouth Jarrow. Codex Grandior was a beautiful, single-volume Bible said to have been made in the early 6th century, and it literally means larger book. Now, a single-volume Bible was quite a remarkable and incredibly useful item to monks at this time, and they desired to make it more available for those of the clergy. According to the life of Ceolfrith, which was penned shortly after his death in 716, he caused to transcribe 3 Bibles, 2 of which he placed in the churches, while the 3rd he resolved to offer as a gift to Peter, Prince of the Apostles, when he was about to go to Rome. This Bible still exists today, which is why we can know a fair bit about it, particularly its material evidence. We'll get back onto the journey of the book in a second, but right now we have to talk about its construction. It features 1,030 sheets of vellum, which comprise its over 2,000 pages. It weighs about 34 kilograms and is about 50.5 centimeters in length by 34 centimeters in width. Yep, he's a big boy. It was originally thought to have been constructed from calf skins, so baby cows, but modern scholars believe that it's actually made of goat skins, and would have took about 500 goats to have made this single book. And bearing in mind Ceolfrith commissioned 3 of them, assuming that the others were made out of animal skin also, that's a lot of goats. Before the Old Testament begins, a beautiful portrait of Prophet Ezra appears, and this is actually the oldest known depiction of book bindings and book storage in the Western world, which is probably the most useless fact you'll ever hear, but interesting nonetheless. And prior to the New Testament within the Codex, there is a depiction of Christ in majesty, an amazing piece of art. The Bible also contains a 2-page plan of the tabernacle in the temple at Jerusalem. It truly was a worthy gift from Ceolfrith to the Pope, Gregory II, who would have been accepting the gift on behalf of the long-deceased Apostle Peter, whom the gift was for in a spiritual sense. This fantastic creation could serve as a bridge between England and Rome, showing the Pope how pious, intelligent and wealthy the Anglo-Saxons truly were. In the years before Ceolfrith's death, he was suffering with illness and likely knew that his time was limited, and he wished to depart this world in the city of the Holy Church, Rome. Therefore, at the ripe old age of 74, in the year 716, he set out to Rome with an entourage of fellow monks and likely some armed men. Unfortunately though, Ceolfrith would never make it to his destination. About 4 months after his departure from Northumbria, he passed away in Langres in Francia. And the next part of the Bible's journey is rather complicated, as not every historian agrees that it actually ever made it to Rome. But there is a letter from Pope Gregory II preserved within the life of Ceolfrith that seems to suggest that Ceolfrith's entourage managed to get to the Bible before him after Ceolfrith's death, as it includes a letter from the Pope to the monks of Wearmouth Jarrow, thanking them for their contribution in the making of this great Bible. So for almost 1,000 years, it was thought that this was of Italian origin, and to be fair, this was for a couple of reasons. Firstly, the artwork and the decorative text is quite similar to what you might find in the Italo-Byzantine style. Secondly, by the 11th century, this book's new home was in Italy, specifically at San Salvatore, Monte Amiata, which is in Tuscany, and where the book gets its name from, Codex Amiatinus. And thirdly, and most controversially, there was a dedicated text at the beginning of the book, which explicitly stated that it was a gift from Ceolfrith to Rome. But an early Italian reader of this dedication verse had actually changed it and doctored the text to make it sound like it was from someone completely different, so people wouldn't really have had any real way of knowing the true origins of this text for a very long time. It's hard not to jump to the conclusion that this was done for dubious purposes and manipulative purposes to make out like this amazingly constructed Bible was actually from someone when the person doctoring it knew full well it was from someone else. You know, there's something fishy going on. In 1888, a scholar by the name of Giovanni Battista de Rossi was able to prove that beneath the doctored introduction was the real dedication verse, which matched the very one described in Life of Ceolfrith, and it stated, "To the body of the excellent Peter, worthy of memory, whom the depths of faith enshrined as head of the church, I, Ceolfrith, an abbot from the far-off lands of the Angles, send the tokens of my sure devotion, praying that I and mine, sharing the joys of so great a Father, may always have a place of remembrance in heaven." Codex Amiatinus now resides in the Lorenzian Library in Florence, and it's remained there for quite some time. The monastery of San Salvatore was shut down in 1782 by Grand Duke of Tuscany Pietro Leopoldo I, as he was suppressing religious orders. So upon its closure, the codex was moved to the library in Florence, and it remains there now, although it's very, very difficult for the public to get access to it. Fortunately though, there are some facsimiles, including one at Bede's World in Jarrow, and I'd love to go there. If I ever do, I'll film it and show yous. So whether you're fascinated by early medieval history, philology, craftsmanship, or ecclesiastical history, I hope this story is interesting to you, because I think it covers a multitude of facets. As you may know, my channel is new and small, and it would be really appreciated if you gave it a like and a subscribe, and helps me grow and helps these videos get out to more people. Let's keep medieval history alive. Have a wonderful day and Godspeed.